When starting a new job in Canada, your employer might give you a form like this. It's called TD1 form. The purpose of this form is for you to tell your employer for any possible government grants or credits that you might be eligible for. That way, your employer can calculate how much tax to deduct from your salary depending on the number of months left plus your credits. This form is not an alternative to the tax returns, and it's only an instruction to your employer on how much tax to deduct from your salary. So do not worry about making any mistakes in this form, it's fine. Because if you claim less deductions than your eligibility, that means you are paying more tax through your job than necessary, and you will get tax refunds at the end of the year. On the other hand, if you made a mistake and you claimed more than you are entitled to, you will end up paying some tax to the government at the end of the year. The happy situation is when you and your employer do the right thing and deduct the right amount of tax from your paycheck, nothing more or less. And in that case, you will not have to pay any taxes to the government, nor you will get any refunds at the end of the year. Hi, I am Raj, your friend in need, and today I'm going to explain you this whole form in detail and will answer some commonly asked questions so you don't struggle when filling out this form. Also, please let me know if you have any comments or questions in the comment section below. This is the 2024 form, but even if you are watching this video in future, you can still follow it as only a few numbers will be changed, but most of the things will remain unchanged. Before we start, please remember that you only get tax refunds at the end of the year if you end up paying more tax through your salary to the government. And with the forms like TD1, you are making sure that you are not deducting more tax through your salary and have to wait till the end of the year to get that tax back. So let's get started. First section is about the personal information. As you can see that in this section, the last name, the first name, the date of birth, address, postal code, that all are very simple. The employee number is, if you have an employee number from your employer, please add that here so they know, and your social insurance number. For non-residents, there is a separate rule for it. You are a non-resident for income tax purpose in Canada if you normally live in another country and are not considered resident of Canada, which means you do not have a study permit, work permit, or any other sort of permit to work in Canada. And you do not have residential ties with Canada, which means that you live outside of Canada throughout the tax year, or you stay in Canada for less than 183 days in the tax year. The first box is the basic personal amount. For 2024, if your salary is less than $173,205, your basic personal amount is $15,705, which means that you do not have to pay tax for this amount. But let's say if your salary is more than $173,205, then there is this separate worksheet called TD1-WS. Please attach that worksheet along with this and pass it to your employer. In that worksheet, you can calculate how much reduced tax benefits you have, because you cannot claim the full basic personal amount. For most people, you do not have to do anything here. The next box is the Canada caregiver amount for infirm child under 18. An infirm child is a child which needs special attention, special cares, and on an average more support than the others. It does not mean that your child has to be disabled. It just means that the child who needs special attention. Make sure that only one parent can claim this amount, and you can claim as much as $2,616 in 2024 for each infirm child you have. Box number 3 is for the age amount. If you are or will be crossing age of 65 by the end of 2024 and your net income from all the sources is less than $44,325, you can claim the entire amount here, which is $8,790. But let's say your income is between $44,325 and $102,925. You can claim partial amounts. For that, again, you will have to fill out the TD1-WS form and add the details there so you can claim the partial amount. If your salary is more than $102,925, you are not eligible for this amount. Box number 4 is the pension amount. If you are receiving regular pension from pension plan other than the regular pension plans like Pension Plan Canada or OAS, which is Old Age Security, or GIS, which is Guaranteed Income Supplement, or if you are in Quebec pension plan, then you can claim the amount of annual pension income you are going to receive, or probably $2,000, whichever is less, most likely $2,000. Box number 5 is for tuition fees, which is applicable for full-time as well as part-time students. For international students, there is a separate video on my channel to fill out the TD1 form for international students who are applying for the first job, so please go check that out, and you might also find that here somewhere. Ideally, the amount here should approximately match with the amount in the T2202 form which you will get from your university or college at the end of the year. But because you don't have it right now, you can estimate how much fees you are going to pay for this year and put that amount here in this section. Please note that if you have filled out 2 years worth of fees, you might only want to add the current year fees for now, and you can claim the next year fees later. You can claim any amount which is more than $100 per tuition per institution, and the institution has to be recognized university or college, and you cannot include the payment you did for the private courses like Udemy or Coursera or so on. Before we continue, I would really appreciate if you could like this video, as it will help others find this video who want to fill out their TD1 form. Box number 6 is the disability amount. You can claim $9,872 if you have already already submitted your information about the disability to CRA and they have replied back saying that yes, they approve your claim as being disabled. So only in that case, you can enter this full amount here. You can submit the form T2201 to CRA to confirm your eligibility. Box number 7 is for the spouse or common law partner. You can claim this amount if you meet both the conditions. The first condition is that the spouse or the common law partner must be living with you and their net income is less than the box number 1. And if their net income is less than $15,705 for this year, which is in the box number 1, you have to put the amount which is difference between that box 1 number amount as well as their net income. So let's say if their yearly salary is $10,000, you can put $5,705 here. Box number 8 is the amount for eligible dependent. This could apply to you only if you do not have a spouse and you have an eligible dependent, which means if you have a child, for example, the first child will be counted as an eligible dependent. And in that case, you can enter the full amount on the box 1 here, which is $15,705 in this situation. But let's say if your dependent is working, then you have to calculate the difference between that amount and their salary and enter the amount there accordingly. Box number 9 is Canada caregiver amount for the eligible dependent or spouse. This is for the people whose eligible dependent, which means a spouse or an eligible dependent, is infirm, which means they need special support and special care. And if their net income is less than $28,041, you can calculate the amount here in the TD1 WS form. Box number 10 is for Canada caregiver amount for dependents who are age 18 years or older, which means that they are infirm, they need special support and care, and they are either working or not working. And depending on that, you can calculate the amount you need to put here. Box number 11 is for the amounts transferred from your spouse or common law partner, which means that if your spouse or common law partner are eligible for some government credits and they do not have sufficient income to claim those credits, they can be transferred to you and you can claim it here. The amounts could include the age amount, pension amount, tuition amount, even disability amount as well. Any unused amount by your spouse or partner could be added here. Or if they are not working at all, you can use the full amount. Box number 12 is the amount transferred from the dependent. Same case, but in this case it's for dependent, mostly people with kids, where if they are working or not working but are eligible for certain benefits, let's say disability benefits or any unused tuition fees, you can claim that amount in your salary. And finally, the box number 13 is the total of everything. So if you are single with an age range between 18 to less than 65, you do not have a children nor a spouse, and you have not paid any tuition fees for which you want to claim the credit, then basically put everything else as 0 and only put the final amount which is on box number 13, same as what is there in the box number 1, and return it to your employer. Now let's go to the page number 2. The first box is about more than one employer or payer at the same time, which means that if you are filling this form for the second employer this year, then you do not have to fill anything on the page number 1, leave it blank, just tick this box, sign it and give it back to your employer, which is stating that you have already claimed this amount with one employer this year. Please remember, only if you have filled out this form once in this year, then you can tick this box. The next checkbox is for the total income less than the total claim amount. If your total income for this year, including all the employers, is less than the amount in the box number 13 which you just filled, then tick this box so your employer knows that they cannot deduct any tax from your salary. Next box is for non-residents only. As I explained at the beginning of the video, there are separate criteria for non-residents, and if you have a study permit or a work permit, you are still a resident. So in non-resident situation, if more than 90% of your world income is coming in Canada, you have to say yes and fill out this page. But in case if your more than 90% of your income is not coming from Canada, you have to say no and you are not entitled to fill this form. The next section is the provincial or territorial personal tax form, for which I have created separate video for each provinces, so please go check that out. The next section is the deduction for living in a prescribed zone. You can claim this amount if you are living in Northwest Territories, Nunavut, Yukon or any other prescribed northern zone for more than 6 months in a row in 2024. You can claim as much as $11 for each day you live in the prescribed zone and $22 each day if you're living in prescribed zone but are living in a dwelling which you are maintaining and you are the only person in that dwelling who is claiming the deduction. You can get more information about it on canada.ca website. In case if you think that you want to deduct additional tax from this salary instead of reducing the tax, you could do so by providing the number here in the additional tax to be deducted box. Here you are paying more tax to the government right now and later claim it as a refund. This is applicable when you know that at the end of the year you might have to pay some tax and you want to reduce the amount of tax you want to pay at the end of the year by deducting that in the salary. The next section is the reduction in tax deductions, which means that if you are investing in your RRSPs or have some other credits which are not covered here, you can fill out this form called T1213. CRA will check that, will send you a form back, and then you can give that form to the employer employer stating that this much amount I don't want to be deducted from my salary, because you are going to get tax credits for that anyways at the end of the year. I have created a separate video on this, so please go check that out. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, concerns or any comments, please let me know in the comment section and I'll try my best to help you out. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please share it with the people in need and I will see you in the next one.